What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you another deck on Pokemon TCGO, and today I am super excited because it is the first day that Burning Shadows has been released, and so I am bringing you my first Burning Shadows deck, and that is a deck centered around Gardevoir-GX. And before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button. It helps us out a lot and lets us do more for you guys. And by the way, because I'm trying to record this outside of the normal time that I do it, trying to do it day of, I'm having to be a little bit quieter than usual just because people around me are still working, doing homework, etc. So I have to be kind of mindful of them, so sorry if I'm a little bit quieter than usual. But anyway, as for the question of the day, I mean, Burning Shadows is out, so of course my question of the day is going to be about that. What was the first deck you guys were able to build centered around a Burning Shadows mon? I mean, that can be just simple as adding Marshadow to Night March, which, spoilers, that's going to be coming up, or something like this, where I built an entire deck centered around Gardevoir-GX. And yeah, so let me know which one you guys were able to build first in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys have going on. And as for me, I mean, this is obviously the first deck that I'm presenting you, but the first deck I was able to build was the Marshadow GX Night March deck, just because that only required 2 Marshadow and a Guzma, which were relatively easy to obtain compared to everything else, because, I mean, this one required 5 of the Ultra Rares as opposed to only 3. So Marshadow was the first one that I was able to completely get, but this one is the first one I'm bringing you just because I'm super excited about this one. So yeah, once again, let me know what was the first one you guys were able to build in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what your guys' thoughts are. But anyway, onto the deck, like I said, centered around Gardevoir-GX, 230 HP, so it's pretty bulky. It's pretty darn bulky. I mean, it's two off of like Solgaleo, Metagross. So I mean, that's a little bit unfortunate right there that it's not 250, but I mean 230 is still plenty, and it is still plenty strong. With Secret Spring, sorry, ability. Once during your turn, you may attach a Fairy Energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon, and the Infinite Force attack for a single Fairy Energy. This attack does 30 times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. It's reminiscent of Mewtwo's Psychic Infinity, or Mega Mewtwo's Psychic Infinity, my bad. But without that 10 base, which really doesn't come into play a whole lot, but it can in certain situations, because I mean 10 extra damage is always nice. And then Twilight GX, shuffle 10 cards from your discard pile into your deck. That's great for going up against like Gardevoir or something where you use a bunch of items to get set up, and then you just throw all of them back into your deck, where Gardevoir is all of a sudden like, wait, I can't hit you. That's unfortunate. So really, this whole deck is just centered around making Gardevoir hit for the right amount of damage, getting it set up as quickly and consistently as possible. Because I mean, once again, it is a stage 2, so it's a little bit tricky to get set up. But I mean, regardless, we still have cards that are able to help us get set up a little bit faster, so we're not steamrolled before we're able to get Gardevoir set up. Just going down the line, the first thing we're using is Diancie, which is the mon that we're using to help Gardevoir get set up. I'm halfway between Gardevoir and Garbodor, just because I've been thinking about Garbodor so much lately. But Diancie is what we use to help get Gardevoir set up because of Sparkling Wish. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. Then shuffle your deck. This is great for like going second, immediately get up a Kirlia or an Octillery if you need draw support or something like that. Second attack you're never going to use. You're really just using it for Sparkling Wish. And then it also only has 1 retreat cost, so that's kind of nice in the event that you don't have a Fairy Garden set up. But yeah, this is incredibly valuable for getting it set up. It allows you to get a Gardevoir up turn 2, Gallade up turn 2, that type of stuff. 4/3/3 of Ralts, Kirlia, and Gardevoir, and we're only running 3 Gardevoir-GX because we are also throwing 1 Gallade in there. Because I mean, if we're running that line, Gallade is so powerful that you might as well throw that in there as well, thanks to Sensitive Blade being able to hit for 130 for just a DCE, and then Premonition. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 5 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. Both of those are incredibly strong and incredibly useful in this deck, so 1 Gardevoir slot is going to Gallade, and honestly, the deck is all that much better because of it. I'm going to go through this a little bit faster because you guys don't want to hear me talk about the deck. You see the deck list, you want to see me get into the actual games. So 2 Lele, just simply for Wonder Tag, be able to search out a supporter. First turn Lele into Brigette is the ideal setup for this deck. 2/2 of Remoraid and Octillery. Combine Octillery with Gallade for an incredible draw engine. I mean, It's not Malo, Octillery, Gallade, but it's still pretty powerful nonetheless. And also this way, you have consistent draw support, you have a way of bridgeting in order to get Remoraid, you have Diancie that can be used to Remoraid into Octillery immediately, so this just works out incredibly in this deck. One Field Blower shuts down, well, gets rid of the Choice Band and shuts off Garbotoxin if we're able to get rid of that Floatstone, because otherwise Garbotoxin would really just give this deck a whole lot of problems. 3 Rare Candy to go straight from Ralts into Gallade or Gardevoir, 2 Rescue Stretcher to let us recur some of our mons that we might have to discard early on, like if we don't have a means of evolving just yet and we have to discard Gardevoir or Gallade or something like that. A couple Rescue Stretcher allow us to reuse those late game. 4 Ultra Ball guaranteed get us what we want when we want. 4 VS Seeker let us reuse all of our supporters. And then as for these supporters, running 4-3-2 of Sycamore and Guzma instead of Lysander. Guzma has now replaced Lysander as a method of switching as well as Lysandering out, or as I guess Guzmaing out a Pokemon, I guess we have to now call it. I'm still going to call it Lysander, just because, I mean, my brain is so used to that. But just 4-3 for the draw support, 2 Guzma to replace the 2 Lysander that would normally be in this spot. Just kind of general as to what this deck does. And then we have Fairy Garden, so the secondary effect of Guzma does not come into play all that much. 1 Brigette, just because that's probably the most powerful opening this deck can hope for, is Lele into Brigette. And then Fisherman to recur energy, that way we can manually attach, use Secret Spring, all that good stuff when we get a ton of energy in our hand. Fairy Garden is the stadium of choice because of free retreat and all that, and also it's not going to get rotated out, so you can still use it in a little while. 2 Choice Band to boost our damage output. 4 DCE because, I mean, that's what Gallade and Gardevoir and Lele all rely on. I mean, all of these Pokemon can rely on DCE. I mean, Gardevoir, oh, that's a Gallade. Gardevoir needs a Fairy Energy to use Infinite Force, but it can use DCE just to get a 60 damage boost to Infinite Force, which is pretty phenomenal. Gallade and Lele, of course, can use it as well. And then 7 Fairy Energy, just because that is what our energy acceleration requires. Secret Spring needs Fairy Energy in order to work, and then Gardevoir also kind of needs Fairy Energy in order to attack, and so does Diancie, and then also gives free retreat when combined with Fairy Garden. So, yeah. Pretty short explanation, but that's a deck. Let's go ahead and see it in action. Alrighty, we have found one against Doom Turtle with, well, I mean, I was going to say it looks like a mirror match, but then we saw the Psychic type, so I really, honestly, have no idea what my opponent is running. I mean, it looks like a solid enough build. We do win the coin flip, meaning we will get to go first. That will actually be really, really nice for this deck, just be able to bridge it, and then, this hand is really solid, not gonna lie. I mean, I'd prefer... Actually, you know what? Given that I don't have another draw support, I think N is just fine, and the fact that I will have 1 Ralts down at the very least will be good as well. I'm half debating whether I should immediately play that DCE onto the Ralts, because I won't be able to use Diancie's attack anyway, turn 1. Well, I mean, I guess if I draw the Fairy Energy, then why not? Just play the Fairy Garden there, and then let's just get a brand new hand, see what else we can get. We get another, wow, we get another Ralts, so that is actually really phenomenal. I get a Choice Band. I think I'm gonna hold on to the Choice Band. Windows, go away, no one likes you. But I think I'm just gonna hold on to the Choice Band for the time being. My opponent even just, well, immediately ends. I mean, starts off with a Lele and then immediately ends. Like, this is a hand that I could have worked with, but I mean, if I'm gonna get a new hand, then sure, I'll take it. And I even get, wow, I get a Kirlia, a DCE, and well, I mean, I get a win, so, I mean, that's something, and not nearly the type of match I was hoping for, but you know what? We take those, and let's go ahead and try to find another one. Alrighty, we have found another one against Phoenix0222 with a... Well, I mean, if this is Greninja Break, it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup, and that might actually be kind of difficult. One thing I've thought about with Gardevoir is potentially using Max Potion, just because it attacks for so little, but then again, I mean, it does throw it into the discard pile. We do have Fisherman for that, but whatever. Either way, our opponent is going to call the coin flip, and we do lose it, meaning we will go second, so that's actually pretty unfortunate, because this deck really does like going first. I mean, if I start off with a Diancie, then I should be good. And unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to have to mulligan, which gives my opponent an extra card, and the fact that I won't even be able to end them out of that extra card is less than ideal. So, yeah, my opponent put something active, and now we mulligan. Interesting. So I guess it... I mean, I already saw what hand I had in... Ugh. So this is not an ideal start. Gonna start... I mean, I'm obviously starting with a Remoraid, and I mean, I can... Okay, so I can potentially Ultra Ball get rid of, like, Octillery and Gardevoir to grab Brigette, which will grab me two Ralts and a Diancie more than likely. But I won't be able to use Diancie's attack this turn because I run no switch cards or anything like that. So that's going to be kind of tricky to try to work my way out of. But I mean, I know I can do it. But, well, actually, you know what? With the cards in this deck, I won't be able to do that this turn. But, I mean, I'm saying it's a situation that I can definitely work myself out of. So my opponent looks to be running... I mean, is this like a... I mean, I'm assuming it's a Mega Gyarados deck, considering we see Palkia, and then we see the Mega Gyarados sleeves and deck box. And also the fact that it's Hoopa. So, this will actually be pretty good... This will actually be a really good matchup for us, I think. Because they'll have so... The Gyarados will have so much energy on them that I just need to load up Gardevoir just a little bit in order to be able to knock them out. Because I think 8 energy between the two of us... Sorry, phone going off in the background. I think 8 energy between the two of us will be enough for me to be able to one-shot them. And then considering they have to have 4, then that just means 2 Fairy and a DCE. And shouldn't be too difficult to handle regardless. So my opponent does grab a couple Gyarados and the Shaman with the Hoopa. I mean, it's just kind of a standard-ish start. Runs Trainer's Mail as well. So at this point, I'm really wishing I brought Garbodor against my opponent because I feel like I would have been able to just steamroll them. But you know what? This is Burning Shadows. We are bringing out the Burning Shadows Mons. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So my opponent is going to Max Elixir once again. Is he going to hit a second one? Looks like he did, because otherwise I think he would just kind of shuffle back into the deck. Taking a sweet time, apparently, too. But yeah, okay, so he did hit both Max Elixirs and is going to play the Shaman for 5 more cards. So this is very good start from my opponent, but I think I have the makings of a decent start of my own. Because I can just Field Blower away that Rough Seas, because that's going to be annoying. I can Field Blower away the Rough Seas and the Gyarados. I can then Ultra Ball, get rid of... the Gardevoir and the Octillery to grab a Lele. I can then Rescue Stretcher those back into the deck. Field Blower away my opponent's Rough Seas and Gyarados Spirit Link, and even hits an Energy Switch, so Palkia is ready to go. And wait, has my opponent not even used... Wow, my opponent hasn't even used their supporter for the turn yet. So my opponent is having a very, very good first turn. Like, I mean, really, really good. That's exactly what you would hope for with Gyarados. I mean, you have 2 Gyarados down, you have a Palkia with 2 energy already on it. That way it can Aqua Turbo, get an energy in the discard pile from Mega Turbo later. You have a Gyarados with an energy and a Spirit Link. I mean, this is going to be an interesting matchup, to say the least. So, okay, finally it's our turn, and this is great, actually, that I can discard one of the Sycamores, because I can get rid of the Gardevoir, hold on to the Octillery for next turn. Let's not grab Diancie, let's grab Lele, and yes, the Brigette is in the deck. So, one thing I wish I would have been able to grab is, or have as an energy this turn, but I think the setup is a little bit more important at this point. Just being able to try to get set up, that way once my opponent starts attacking with the Mega Gyarados, then I can just go from there. So, let's grab 2 Ralts. I want to grab a Remoraid and just leave it up to get knocked out. No, I think Diancie. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Field Blower away both Spirit Links off of my opponent's Gyarados. And unfortunately just end the turn right there. I mean, I could have played the Rescue Stretcher for next turn, but I think at this point it's just better to leave it in my hand. Yeah, so I didn't get an energy, meaning I won't be able to retreat Remoraid this turn. And I wasn't able to get rid of that Rough Seas, but I think that getting rid of the Spirit Links was the much higher priority in this situation. So, yeah, I mean, my opponent's going to be able to get... I mean, he manually attached to one of the Gyarados. He's going to be able to Aqua Turbo, get 2 more energy, so he's going to be able to fully set up his Mega Gyarados, but all I have to do is just get 2 Gardevoir in play and I'm good, and he actually Lysander's in my Ralts. So apparently my opponent doesn't have the cards from Burning Shadows yet, although in this case, because he doesn't have Manaphy out, he won't be able to, because he doesn't have Manaphy out, Guzma would have actually hurt him, so, I mean, it's kind of a, do you have a way of retreating, and if you do, then Guzma's the way to go. And I think Guzma, well, I mean, Guzma obviously is going to replace Lysander because Lysander's getting rotated out. But Guzma's kind of an Olympia and a Lysander all in one, so I think people will just start going for that. And I get a Gardevoir, so this is tricky. I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead and throw this back into the deck and then Sycamore. Or should I? No, let's Abyssal Hand. Darn it. So I really should have just waited. And then let's Ultra Ball, get rid of the Gardevoir and the energy. And yeah, I really should have just waited with that Ultra Ball because then I would have been able to put that second Gardevoir back into the deck as well. But I mean, in any case, I'm still going to be able to get a Kirlia. I'll still be able to draw a fresh hand. And I'll be able to get another Kirlia as well if I want. So what I think I'm going to do, Ultra Ball, get rid of... Let's get rid of the Remoraid and I think the Fisherman to grab a second Kirlia. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, the Kirlia, obviously. I mean, I won't be able to evolve with Diancie yet, but let's go ahead and just retreat into Diancie because, I mean, that thing's not going to be 2-hit KO'd. My opponent has to waste a Lysander to bring out Kirlia if he wants to knock it out. And then I'm finally in a position where I can potentially start doing something. Because what I'll be able to do is evolve into Gallade. I have a Rescue Stretcher that'll allow me to evolve into Gardevoir. And then Diancie, if I can get an energy, will be able to evolve my last Ralts into a Kirlia. So my opponent actually attaches another energy to Palkia, which is interesting. That's not something that I would generally think my opponent would do. But I mean, he is going to be able to get completely set up at this point. Like, that's just going to be how it is, and it's going to be a little bit scary. And we actually see my opponent get rid of 2 more Mega Turbos, which is fantastic. And what's even better is because I got rid of those 2 Spirit Links, my opponent's going to be running low on them. So hopefully he doesn't draw into them and just has to waste a turn to evolve his Mega Gyarados, and that will be a turn that he doesn't get to Aqua Turbo, which will work out for me quite a bit. So Trainer's Mail comes down again, and man, I'm really wishing I was playing Gardevoir right now because I'd just be like, okay, 1 energy, Trash Lynch, bye. And Gardevoir, I mean, to be fair, still hits for a ton of energy, or for a ton of damage for 1 energy, but you kind of have to use more energy and whatnot. So my opponent is playing the Ultra Ball. Does he not have the Spirit Link? Because I feel like you'd play that before you'd get the Ultra Ball. I mean, you can still play it down, like if you have it in your hand. You can still throw that onto Gyarados now, after you played the Ultra Ball. But, I mean, I just would think order of operations, like, just, I mean, in my mind at least, and yes, my opponent does have to end their turn to do that, so that is actually phenomenal for me. What I'm going to do right here is play the energy onto Diancie, evolve the damaged Kirlia into Gallade, that way I don't give up 2 prizes if my opponent is able to attack, and then let's evolve into Gardevoir. And then I think... well, first let's Premonition, see what we can get, because if we get something good off the top, then I can work with that. I get Kirlia, Octillery, yeah, let's just go ahead and put it like that. That way I can draw into the Kirlia off of Abyssal Hand, and then just kind of control what I get right there, because what I think I'm going to do this turn is actually Fisherman. That way I can get energy back into the hand instead of Sycamoring. So yeah, there's that, and because of Diancie, I will be able to get another Gardevoir up this turn, so that's actually really phenomenal and puts me in a great position. So let's go ahead and do that. I think, yeah, Secret Spring, where do I want to put it? I think first things first, let's start powering up this Gardevoir. And, okay, so... yeah, that's going to be it for the turn. Let's go ahead and Sparkling Wish. That way I can get up a second Gardevoir. And, yeah, hopefully these 2 can go the distance. I should be able to, considering my opponent's going to have a ton of energy on his Mega Gyarados. But what I think I'm going to do... This is going to get kind of tricky. Because, I mean, Mega Gyarados is actually really, really bulky. So what I think I'm going to do is actually send out Gallade to get a hit off of Mega Gyarados. So that... To get a hit off on Mega Gyarados so that I can knock it out with a low energy attack and then still save my energy on the other Gardevoir for later, for the fresh one. So yeah, I think I'm going to put the first Gyarados that he sends out, I'm going to put that in range of being knocked out by a 1 energy infinite force. And then I'm going to power up one in the background, that way if he's able to knock out my other one, I should be able to just slap an energy on there and knock it out in return. So, I mean, yeah, this is pretty solid position overall. Yeah, let's see if he's going to grab the VS Seeker. Does he still not use a supporter for the turn? Huh. By the way, guys, I apologize if you can hear the vacuuming in the background. It's cleaning day, but this is also the day that Burning Shadows came out, so I couldn't not bring you guys this deck, or I couldn't not bring you guys a video on the day that it came out, so I'm having to record at a time that I don't usually, so there might be a little bit of background noise, so I do apologize for that. But again, I really just wanted to bring this video because it's... I mean, I'm super excited for Burning Shadows. I really am. And Gardevoir has been hyped up. I know literally everybody and their mother is probably going to do this as the first video that they do. I know for a fact that Orobomb is, because he copies me. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and throw that out there. Orobomb 100% copies me. It's not the other way around at all. Beside the point, my opponent will be able to get an energy... Well, he will be able to finally get a Blast Geyser off with Gyarados and not have to discard the top 2 cards of his deck because he is going to be able to just hit for the 120. And is he going to hit the 3rd Max Elixir? Yes, he is. So my opponent has gone 3 for 3 with Max Elixirs. I honestly wish I could be that lucky. I really do. And then Trainer's Mail is going to come out. I'm just sitting here looking at all these items and thinking, Garbodor, man. Garbodor would just... would eat it alive. But you know what? This is a Gardevoir showcase, not a Garbodor. So we're out here, and because of all the energy on the board, we still are in a great spot. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like my opponent's going to try to get another Mega Gyarados going in the background, and yeah, my opponent, I mean, maybe he'll time out. That's a real possibility at this point because he is playing very, very slowly. I mean, he's played 10 minutes and still hasn't taken a prize yet. Yeah, we do see the second Mega Gyarados. He's going to be able to, like I said, going to be able to get the knockout. However, I will be able to retaliate with my Gallade. Yeah, Gallade is 100%. I'm trying to think. Is Gallade the play? Because I know Gallade will be able to avoid the knockout by, will not be able to avoid the knockout without the discard. My opponent's down to a low deck size, so timeout and deck out are both real possibilities at this point as well. So, I mean, we're actually, even though my opponent has 2 Mega Gyarados fully set up, we're in a very good position because he finally just took his first prize. And I think, well, both Gardevoir, unless my opponent gets 2 more energy on Gyarados, both Gardevoir will be able to avoid the Oko, even if he decides to do the discard with Blast Geyser. So I think I am going to go with the Gallade play. It's Premonition. Do I want to do that yet? No. First, let's Secret Spring. I guess I don't have to select it because it's the only fairy in my hand. And then Sycamore away my hand, see what else I can get. Okay, luckily I get another energy. So let's attach to Gallade, play the Choice Band there, and then let's Premonition, see what we can get off the top. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I want to get rid of that Rough Seas first and foremost. So let's put the Fairy Garden first. And then I have a VS Seeker, so once this Gallade gets knocked out, I can just Fisherman for energy. So I'm going to put Guzma second, I think. Let's put Guzma second, DCE third. That way, because I mean, okay, this turn I've already used my supporter. Next turn I'm probably going to use Fisherman. And then the turn after that I will probably want energy on a Gardevoir to be able to knock out a Mega Gyarados from full just by putting 3 energy on it. Because if my opponent plays 1 more energy onto Mega Gyarados, onto either Mega Gyarados, then I will be able to one-shot it with a 3 energy Infinite Force. So I think that's going to be the play. Let's soften it up right now with the Gallade. I do lose the Choice Band, but it's not a big deal. And then... So he's obviously going to knock me out and take a couple prizes. Puts another energy on the Gyarados, so that Gyarados is 1 energy away from being able to one-shot my Gardevoir. My opponent ends right here. He's actually going to put himself down to 1 card in deck. So I think the smart play, yeah, the smart play is just to Blast Geyser, knock me out, take the prize off of that, and then go from there. So, I mean, obviously knock me out, not the 2 discard. I mean, I can hope that my opponent would choke, but I know that he probably, that's not the play right now. So it is my turn. I get the Fairy Garden. Let's bounce that Rough Season. So the next 2 cards I'm drawing are going to be Guzma and DCE. So for the time being, let's go ahead and Fisherman, get another energy back into my hand. Well, get 3 energy back into my hand. And then I will be able to, let's Secret Spring. And then I'm going to be able to get the Guzma this turn, so I think what I'm going to do, yeah, let's put it on the active because I'm going to have to switch out. And then put 1 on the bench, that way I can knock it out. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that, and then let's... Actually, you know what? No, let's Abyssal Hand first so I can get that Guzma. And wait, I can't play it. I completely forgot that I already played Fisherman, so, oh boy. So that was actually a huge misplay on my part, because now the Gardevoir with all the energy is active. Wait, I could have retreated. Oops. So, yeah, that whole turn was just kind of a big, whoopsie on my part. Yeah. Oops. So, what I can hope for right now is that my opponent doesn't N. Because... Well, actually, he has 6 energy, so all I need is just any Fairy Energy at all. I know I have the DCE coming next turn. So yeah, he is going to be able to Blast Geyser, knock out this Gardevoir. But... I mean, because I put the DCE, my misplay is not going to come back to bite me, because I will be able to just top deck that DCE and then play it onto Gardevoir and then be able to one-shot this Gyarados. So yeah, I did screw up, but I had a pseudo contingency plan for that. So let's just attach the energy right there. I am not going to end, because that would keep my opponent from potentially decking out, and then let's knock out the Mega Gyarados, take a couple prizes, and then just be, well, 1 knockout away from winning the game. So, yeah, I'm going to have to Guzma into the Shaman. So, yeah, this is where Guzma is actually inferior to Lysander, simply because I would have to switch out my Gardevoir. But either way, I'm going to be able to knock out, I'll be able to win this game. My opponent actually Hex Maniacs, so he will lose to deck out this turn. And I don't even have to play anything. I'm just going to end my turn right there. Now, yes, I do know what ending the turn is. And my opponent's going to be able to, well, my opponent will deck out, and we are going to lose the game. So, yeah, 1 turn of a pretty big misplay, but Gardevoir, even though it was slow to set up, just because my opponent had to have so many energy on Mega Gyarados, I was able to just easily destroy that. And normally I would end the video here, because, I mean, it's right around a half hour, that's what I like to keep it. But, you know what, this is the first day, I want to play with this deck a little more, so let's go ahead and try to find one final game with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against Hazerbee with a Fighting and Psychic deck, so, odds are this is Passimian Mew, but what would be really cool is if this was Passimian Mew Marshadow. I know that I try to be early with how I get my cards, so I know not a lot of people have access to the numbers of cards they would need to make a deck, well, make a deck in a certain way, just because they might have like only a few at a certain time. But I do start off, my opponent is letting me go first, so I'm pretty positive that this is Passimian Mew. I mean, what else would it be? Why else would they let me go first? The only other deck I can think of that would let me is Night March, which I mean, that's not ideal at all. So, I mean, on the bright side, I start off with a couple Ralts, and I will be able to get an energy on there, free retreat out of there, and then I think I'm just going to Sycamore. I mean, I get rid of a Rescue Stretcher, but that's not too huge of a deal, and this is great, actually, because I draw into a Rare Candy Gardevoir. What I can do is... do I want to retreat into Remoraid, or do I want to retreat into the other Ralts? I think for the time being, I'm just going to retreat into Remoraid, because Gardevoir is obviously more important than Remoraid. I have draw support in my hand. I should be able to get more as the game goes on anyway, so I'm not going to be like... I'm not going to be starved for draw at any point, I don't think. I mean, don't get me wrong, Octillery is really strong. But okay, my opponent just team plays and hits me for 40 damage, and that's his turn, so that's actually phenomenal. Because what I can do, Rare Candy up into Gardevoir, I'm going to be able to knock out this Mew pretty easily. So let's go ahead and Ultra Ball. Yeah, I think I'm going to Ultra Ball, get rid of a Fairy Energy and the End, because I don't want to play that considering my opponent didn't have anything at all. Let's grab the Octillery. I do have the Fairy Garden in play, so I will be able to just use Gardevoir's ability, put the energy onto Octillery, play the DCE onto Gardevoir. That way I can hit for enough damage to knock out the Mew, although to be fair, at this point, I would have knocked out the Mew anyway. And here we go. So I'm just going to be able to Abyssal Hand for 5 cards, free retreat my Octillery out of there, and yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Ultra Ball, get rid of the Rescue Stretcher and the other Ultra Ball to grab a Kirlia, so that I have a Gardevoir for next turn, and I'm actually just not going to use a supporter. I'm going to hold on to this Gardevoir because I have it in my hand. I could go for a Sycamore, but again, the better play, just keep the Gardevoir, be able to have that in to evolve Kirlia next turn, and to go from there. So, yep, knock out the Mew, take a prize, and now we're in a phenomenal spot. Because all I need is an energy, and I will be able to knock out this Passimian. If my opponent doesn't have anything, I will be just fine, and I will be able to take a knockout on the Passimian and win the game. But he does... Okay, Special Charges puts the DC back. Rescue Stretcher is probably just going to grab the Mew and put it back in his hand, throw it back on the bench. That type of thing. So, yeah, he's going to go ahead and Queequee. I know it's Kukui, I just say Queequee to annoy Orobomb. And okay, so let's go ahead and play that there. Let's go ahead and Abyssal Hand, because I have the Ultra Ball, I might as well see if I can play it out. I get the DCE. I think at this point I'm just going to Ultra Ball, get rid of the Guzma and the Fisherman, make sure I have those in the discard pile, grab a Ralts, play that sucker down, and all I need is a Fairy Energy at this point, so I'm just going to play the DCE onto the other Gardevoir. That way I have the energy on there. And then I'm going to Sycamore, because I should be able to draw into a Fairy Energy with 7 cards. And I don't. So I'm actually not going to be able to knock out this Passimian this turn. I did get a little bit complacent. I had the guaranteed knockout if I played the other DCE onto this Gardevoir. I could have even Fisherman for another energy, but I got a little bit greedy, and now I'm going to pay for it because I won't be able to get a knockout on the Passimian. So definitely my fault right there. I got greedy, but I mean, I would have thought that I would have been able to draw into a Fairy Energy, but oh well. You win some, you lose some. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite me. Looks like my opponent is going to be able to get another Passimian down. This Passimian's actually going to be... This Passimian's actually going to be something that I can target down later with Diancie. Like, I might actually use Diancie's attacking attack as opposed to its evolution attack, which is something that's kind of interesting and something you don't see happening. So my opponent is starting to go off right now, which is a little bit scary. I really do not want to... I really don't want my opponent just getting, like, consistently 4 Passimian and being able to potentially 2-shot my Gardevoirs, because that would be really, really bad, obviously. He does have to get rid of a Mew with the Ultra Ball and another Kukui. So, he's going to 100% grab another Passimian. No reason for him not to. There we go. And then he's probably just going to team play me for 70 because Passimian does not have free retreat. So that thing is stuck active. And unless my opponent has a switching card. Otherwise, I should be... Well, speak of the devil, there's the switch. So he's going to be able to hit me with a team play for 100 damage. And there it is. There's the Marshadow. That's really cool. So I was hoping this would be Mew, Passimian, Marshadow, because I kind of wanted to play against another Burning Shadows deck, and lo and behold, here we go. So my opponent is going to be able to team play me for 100 damage. That's just fine with me. And, ooh, I top-decked Gallade. So unfortunately, both of my Rescue Stretchers are in the discard pile. But what I think I'm going to do, so that means I won't be able to... If I lose this Gardevoir, I lose it, and I'm not going to get it back. So I actually think I'm going to do is go ahead and grab Gallade, just because I think Premonition will be key late game, and it's a little bit more valuable than having a third Gardevoir, which, I mean, 3 Gardevoir is actually phenomenal, but I think Gallade, a Gallade and 2 Gardevoir is better than 3 Gardevoir. So here we go. I did draw into another Fairy Energy, luckily. So that way I can simply just retreat my Gardevoir out and into my other Gardevoir and be able to knock this Mew out, while obviously getting my damaged Gardevoir out of the way. And then let's Premonition, see what we can get. Ooh, there's plenty of energy there, so that's where all my energy is. Let's put the Fairy Energy first. Actually, no. Let's put the Diancie first, because I am just going to Sycamore next turn. And so all those other cards are stuff I would like to be able to draw into. Diancie is something I will not need for the rest of the game, so even though I'm running on kind of a low deck, I know I should have a VS Seeker in there, or I should be able to get one off the prizes. That way I can not deck out. And even if I do put myself lower, I have enough turns to be able to just draw. Well, there's the VS Seeker anyway. But what I was saying is I have enough cards in my deck to where I could just draw KO, draw KO, draw KO, and win the game like that. Passimian comes active, and unless my opponent has another switching card, this Passimian's going to be stuck there. Yeah, Diamond Storm will be able to knock out this Passimian, and I'm going to be able to heal up my Gardevoir in the process. He grabs Mew. If he gets Mew again, then I'm not going to be able to knock him out. But he is just going to play the DCE onto this Passimian and then team play me for 70 damage. So I will... Yeah, I should be able to knock this guy out. I know I'm going to draw into the energy as opposed to other turns. Because, well, there it is, and there's the other VS Seeker, so I can always N if I'm running low on cards. So what I'm going to do is Secret Spring, throw this onto my Diancie, DCE up the Diancie, because I mean, I have to, retreat into the Diancie, Premonition, just to see what cards are left in my deck. Let's go ahead and grab the Guzma, I think. Guzma, Sycamore, Choice Band, and Energy, because I don't think I need the energy, and I can always just Fisherman if I have to. And then let's heal up my Gardevoirs while knocking out that Passimian. I never thought I would use Diancie's attack, but I mean, hey, it worked. And then my opponent can't even Lysander stall because I do have the Fairy Garden for my Octillery. I have the DCE to throw onto Gallade, all that stuff. So I have plenty of ways of getting out of there. And my opponent does not top deck anything, so honestly, props to my opponent for playing this out. Like, at this point, I probably would have scooped because I see that I have absolutely nothing, and that my opponent has 2 Gardevoirs and a Gallade setup, so props to my opponent for playing it out. But what I am going to do, I'm taking no prisoners just in case my opponent does have a ridiculous turn or something like that. So what I'm going to do is actually Energy, then Sycamore Choice Band, just in case I need the energy for, like, Gallade to be able to free retreat out of there, although I do have the Guzma at the same time. So, I mean, this is where Guzma actually can come in handy, and there's my other Choice Band. Would have liked that last turn, but it really doesn't matter at this point. I'm down to 1 prize. I have a Gardevoir that can easily knock out anything my opponent wants to bring up. I mean, I have Fisherman to be able to grab a couple energy that I will be able to use to even knock out a Passimian. And yeah, my opponent had to use Kukui as their supporter, so this game is pretty much over. My opponent cannot end me out of this hand. He can escape rope, but I will just go into another Gardevoir, or go into my other Gardevoir, free retreat out. I have the Fairy Garden in my hand for the free retreat, even if my opponent happens to run like Catcher or something like that. And we see that the last card he grabbed was the Puzzle of Time. So I just win the game right here. My opponent literally has no play because he has nothing. There's the Mew. I mean, well, there's an energy. I'm just going to hit for a little bit more damage, Infinite Force, knock out this Mew, and win the game. So I mean, this wasn't as close of a match as I was hoping for. I mean, it kind of turned into a little bit of a body bag because my opponent didn't draw anything, but I mean, at least I hope the second game was good enough for you guys. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching. I really enjoy bringing these videos, especially on the day of, just because I love these sets. I love bringing them. I love being able to play with them the day of, that type of thing. So again, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. And this is Sticks signing out. Why not? See you guys.